Hello everyone, welcome everyone. Okay, so we have this question from 2024 August as a continuation. Okay, so you are welcome to my channel as we work out this question. Okay, so let's look at the question, how it was given, then we try to answer. Okay, so this question was on vectors. Okay, so the question went on to state in the following diagram. Okay, OA is equal to A, OB is equal to vector B, and AX to the ratio to AB is equal to 2 to 3. Okay, so we were given these ratios as part of the vectors. So I'll talk about ratios. Okay, so AX, what it means? It means from this point of A to X, we are given 2. Then for A to B, from A to B in full, we are given 3. That's what these ratios are. Okay, so we are given the vectors that are moving on the path. OA, we are given vector A, and then O to B, we are given vector B. Okay, so these are given vectors. And then the examiner went on to ask some questions. Express in terms of A and D, or B, AB. Okay, so what is most important about vectors? Vectors are components that move from the point of origin to the point of destination. Okay, so in our case we are given a path. The first one is find A to B. Okay, so we are moving from A to B. So apart from this distance of A to B, the side which we can move to find ourselves at B, we can use A to O and then O to B. Okay, so that's the path that we can use to find that vector. So I will use this space to answer the question. Okay, so we have the first one, which is the A. So our A, we can state AB. Okay, so for AB, we can use the path of A to O, then E plus E, O to B, plus O to B in that form. Okay, so we begin to apply the vectors. Now, what is important about the application of vectors? When you are taking a path, we look at the direction of the vector, where the vector is going. So in our case here, the vector is going opposite. So when the vector is going to the opposite direction like this, then it's negative. Okay, so that vector will become negative. So what we have, we are given A there, so it will be negative A, then E plus E. Our OB, we are going towards the direction, so this will be a positive vector, so we'll have it as positive B. Okay, so in our case, we'll state, we correct the signs. Okay, so what we have is B minus A. Okay, so that is our answer. Okay, so going to the second question, we have question B. We are given to find XB. Okay, so for XB, it's one of the paths that we are moving from this point of X to B. Now, apart from this path of X to B, which other side can we use? Now, if we check the other sides, like for example, XO, there is no moving component from this point. Okay, and then for O to B, there is vector B, but we can't use this path. So the only path that we can use, it is X2, is the same ratios, the segmentation of the ratios, which is given in the parts of the question. So we are given something here. So if you look at A to X is taking 2. So if this point is 2, and then what of A to B? So A to B in full is 3. So now the remaining portion here, it's 1. Okay, so now to have XB, so we can say XB is taking 1. XB is taking 1 out of 3 of AB. Okay, so that is the actual vector. So in our case, we try to apply our AB. So we say 1 over 3, then our AB is B minus A. Okay, so that is our answer. So this is our XB. Okay, so we can move on to the other question. So the other question on C, okay, we are given to find XO. Okay, so we are given to find XO. So for us to move from X going to O, this is our path. Now take note that when you are in vectors, when you find a certain vector on a particular point, then that route will be open, okay, for movements. So in our case here, our route of X to O is now open. So we can use this particular route. Okay, so now the root of x to o is this path which we are taking from x to o there. So apart from this root of x to o, we can use x to b. Okay, x to b. So our x to b we are given as 1 over 3, and then open brackets b minus a. This is our x to b. This route is open for movements. So in our case, we will state xo, we'll state it to be, okay, xb, and then bo plus bo in that form. So we're arriving at o, and then we can apply our xb. So what are we given as xb? So our xb is 1 over 3, open brackets, we have b minus a. Okay, that's our xb. Okay, and then plus, we look at our OB. So if we look at our OB or BO, to say BO, we are given as negative vector B. Now this would be negative since we are opposing the direction. So if we see we are opposing the direction there, so our vector would be negative. So the direction is to this side. Now we are going in an opposite form. So in an opposite form, it will be negative. Okay. So let me try to put a negative here. So we are going in an opposite direction to be negative b. Okay, that's what we have. And then from here we can now go on to multiply. Okay, we can multiply what is outside the bracket with what is inside. So we can say 1 over 3 times b. So we'll get b over 3, and then 1 over 3 times negative a, we'll get negative a over 3, okay, and then minus b on the other side. So what we do here, we correct the right terms. Negative b will come to this side, okay? So we'll have b over 3 minus b minus b, and then minus a over 3, okay? So in our case, we now try to subtract. So when subtracting these two variables, here we balance up with 1. Then we look for a common denominator. So the common denominator there is 3. Okay, and then here we have a minus a over 3. So now we try to set up what is on top there, we bring it here. So we say 3 into 3 is 1. 1 times b on top, what we get is b. Okay, as we state 3 into 3. 3 into 3 is 1. 1 times b is b. Then 1 into 3 is 3. And then 3 times negative b, we have negative 3b. Okay, so in our case, we can subtract the variables. Okay, so when we say b minus 3b, we get negative 2b. Negative 2b over 3. Okay, negative 2b over 3. Okay, yes, and then we can go on to subtract with this variable, which is a over 3. Okay, so in our case, we can now go on to, we can finalize it at this point. We can take it further in terms of factorizing, but we just finalize at this particular point. So this is our final answer. This is our XO. Okay, so we have this one as our XO. Okay. Okay, so let's look at the other question. So on the other question, we have the last one, which we are trying to show. Okay, so we are given the question of show given, okay, given also that OY is equal to 3OX. Okay, show that BY is equal to A plus B, or A vector plus B vector. So in our case, we are showing OY. So our OY is given as 3OX. Okay, so that is our OY. So we say OY is equal to 3OX. Now, what does this mean? So what this mean? We have to multiply 3 times OX. Okay, so take note that OX is the opposite of XO. It's the opposite. OX is the opposite of XO. So we can say OX is the opposite of XO. Okay, so if this one is opposite, then to become negative, this one is opposite of this one. It is inverse. Okay, so it is opposite. So when they are opposite, then we can for this variable, for this item here, it will become all of it positive. Since OX is the opposite of XO, then this will become positive. This variable here to become positive. It is negative to become positive. Those variables will become positive. So in our case, what we do, we can apply positives on this value, okay, because the opposite of XO, it's OX. So what we do, we say OY will be equal to, okay, 3 open brackets, we have 2b over 3 minus a over 3. Okay, and then we multiply with what is outside of this variable inside the brackets. So we'll state OY will be equal to 3 times 2b, what we'll get is 6b over 3. Okay, and then when we say 3 times the negative a on top, we'll get negative 3a over 3. Okay, so what we do here, we divide. We can reduce these values. Okay, so in say 3 into 3, we have 6 into 6 divided by 3, what we get is 2. Okay, so what we get is 2. Okay, so we say that one into that one, we get 2b. Okay, and then here we say 3 divided by 3, what we get is a. That's what we get. Okay, so this is our OY. So upon getting OY, okay, now we can see the other things that we are given. So we are told to show that by is equal to a plus b. So we are showing now by is equal to a plus b. So to show that, we first of all create a path for by. We look at the path which we are given as by. So what is our by? So by is the actual movement of the vector from b to y at this point. So we are moving from b to y. So we choose the other route that we can use to move from b to y. So we can use b to o, and then o to y. Okay, so if we look at b to o, we can write the path here. We can say b to o. Okay, so you can say b to o, and then plus with plus o to y. Okay, plus o to y. Okay, so plus o to y. Okay, now we can go on to apply the values. Okay, so for by we have bo. So bo is the opposite of the direction. So the vector is moving this direction. Now we are going to this direction. So when you are oppositing the direction, the vector becomes negative. So there we have negative b. We are given negative b there. So we apply our negative b there. So we say negative b, then plus oy. So oy is this actual expression here. So get this expression and then place it where is oy. So we state 2b minus a. Now here we correct the signs. Okay, so in mathematics always we correct the signs if appropriate. So in here we have plus, this one is plus. Let me put as plus there. Okay, we correct the signs. So we take positive to this side. So we take the whole of this b to the other side. Okay, and then a will come to this side. So a will come to this side. Okay, and then this variable b minus 2a will go to the other side. So what we have here, it is by is equal to a, and then followed by a minus b plus 2b. Okay, that's what we have. And then here when we subtract these two variables, when you say negative b plus 2b, these are different signs, so we subtract. So what we will have in the end, we'll have a, okay, a vector plus 2 plus b. Okay, because when you subtract negative b plus 2b, then we'll get b. Okay, so different signs we subtract, and then we follow the sign with a bigger number. So our bigger number there is 2b, okay, or variable. So we will have a plus plus b. So we can say hence shown. Okay, so thank you for subscribing. Please try to share the video to those who have subscribed already, and then please follow me also on Twitter, okay, which is code X, and then also we have the other channel which is on TikTok. Okay, so you can link me there. I'll put the link in the description. Okay, thank you.